everyone, welcome to the AFI Movie Club. I'm Shawn Edwards, and I'm your host for this week's celebration of cinema. It's called Black Stories Matter, and this is a partnership between AFI and Universal Pictures. And thanks to Universal, every movie this week is free for rental. And today's movie is Girls Trip, and we're talking to none other than Malcolm D. Lee, who directed Girls Trip. How you doing, Malcolm?
I'm well, sir. Do Black stories matter? So is that a question now? But no,
it will be a question as we continue this discussion. We'll jump into it.
Do matter.
Yes, they do. Well, I will tell you this before we get started. One story that matters to me is Undercover Brother. That movie still sticks with me, man. That's one of the funniest movies ever made. That was your first feature film, right?
That was my second.
Second.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah. Unfortunately, still relevant today.
There you go.
More so than ever.
Yes, black stories do matter. And yeah, big lover of The Best Man as well. And you also directed the greatest roller skating movie ever, Roll Bounce.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, but let's jump right in. Let's jump right into the reason why we're talking. We're talking about Girls Trip. It's hard to believe it's already been 3 years ago, 2017. And one of the things that comes to mind when I think Girls Trip is I remember watching that movie for the first time professionally as a critic. You know how they gather all of us critics together and you watch it and it's like, okay, this movie's funny. But I always like to make a point, especially when it's a movie about the Black experience, to go back and watch it again. Number one, so I can support it with my own dollars. So I go back and watch it at a real movie theater with real people. And I don't think I've ever seen a movie where people were literally howling and on the floor, especially the women in attendance. Like, people were just dropping down and just like about to die from laughter. But the thing that I really love most about the movie, and the thing that I really want to discuss with you first, is one of the most underrated, most underappreciated aspects of filmmaking: the casting. Talk a little bit about the casting. That's what really drove this film home.
Well, thank you. Well, I thank you for your patronage. Number one, for the movie. You know, when Will Packer approached me with this idea, it was right after we had success with the Best Man Holiday, and we've been trying to find a thing to work with together, and we're like, well, how can we pull together the best cast? And certainly having worked with Regina for so long, who's like just a master thespian when it comes to comedy, when it comes to drama. She's extremely versatile, but not had that leading lady role yet. And we thought, okay, great anchor for us to do that. She can play the straight role, but also be funny when she needs to. Wanting to, we actually went after Jada next, and then to team her up with Latifah for the first time since set it off. We were like, great combination. And then our wild card in Tiffany Haddish, we were glad that we were able to bring a newcomer to the table with these other established women. So yeah, I mean, you put a cast together, and a lot of times they say directing is 80% casting, 90% casting, and a lot of that's true, because especially when you get people who have great chemistry on screen and off screen, and these women had that in spades. You know what I mean? They really loved one another and really got along and wanted each other to win in each scene. So it was a very supportive environment, but you don't always get that. And so like that's what happens behind the scenes is just as important as happening in front of the camera.
Were all four your first choices?
Well, I'll say yes. I'll say yes. So maybe someday I'll tell a different story when I write my memoir. But right now, yes. I couldn't have asked for a better cast. It could have gone a number of different ways, but let me put it like this: we are very glad with the cast we got.
Yeah, I bet you are. I mean, it's a classic casting. But here's what I want to ask, though. You mentioned Tiffany Haddish. She was a newcomer. Now, I know some people had a vague familiarity of her, especially like stand-up comedy junkies, because she had been on the scene for a while doing her thing, but she hadn't really become a big name. How did you discover her, and where did you find her?
I hate to use that word discover, because like she's been on the planet a long time, right? Like before I ever met her. But I will say it's funny. It was very serendipitous how Tiff and I met. I became aware of her, from the Carmichael show, And you know, it was like, oh, that lady's funny. You know, like every time she came in on and she just came in and was, you know, and dropped the bomb and dropped a funny joke. Like, oh, so I took notice of her. I saw her. I was doing a pilot at Fox. I saw her on the lot. Passed by. I said, oh, this is a lady from Carmichael show. And then it was the same year. I was the premiere of Barbershop: The Next Cut. You know, the movie that I did. And literally, when I stepped out of the car, she was right there on the red carpet and said, "I'm going to be in your next movie." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And she was right.
And she happened to be in your next movie. You know, I just love I love the casting because they sort of have this chemistry and this natural bonding that you really had never seen before, and it all works so well. I just want to show a great example of that, because they're jumping on the plane, you know, to head to Essence Fest, and this scene sort of just really sends it home. It's a great example of that, how a great cast can come together and just instantly work.
You know, Lisa, Dina could be right. Daily penetration is medicinal.
Oh my goodness.
Don't be ashamed, girl. Every sister up in here is on a mission to be her very best in ratchet self.
You especially.
Who's ready for Essence Fest? See, Lisa, there is no turning down up in here, only to turn up. I love turn-ups.
Ma'am, excuse me.
Excuse me. I got this. Can you go ahead and make some Patron shots for everybody up here on me? I'm gonna take care of everybody in first class because I'm every woman. It's all in me. Anything you want done, baby, I do it naturally. Whoa,
I love that, man. That's like a perfect example of watching a film where it almost feels like you're watching a stage play because it instantly just gets the audience totally pulled into, you know, the movie.
Yeah, no, look, I think it's a good tone setter for the what they're about to experience, right? Like, you know, it's going to be a fun time. It's going to be a good ride. You know, there may be some discomfort from some people. Like if you expose character, you get a great song. You get some good laughs. And you know, some body talk. I mean, you know, and establishes them as a group, as a crew, and they kind of fall back into their roles there. So that was part of the reasoning, you know, of doing it. And plus, shooting on a plane, whether it's on a stage or on real, it's very difficult. It's a very challenging thing to do, but we had to do it because we wanted to set it off right.
I think I can imagine anything involving a plane has to be extremely difficult. Just traveling on a plane at times is not the best experience as it is. So I can't even imagine full crew, lights, set up, cameras, trying to pull that off. As a director, you're directing a comedy. It's all about timing. This is sort of like Tiffany Haddish's jump off moment, and she's great in every scene, but you know, what's your mode of operation when you're working on her one-on-one? Because there's a couple of scenes where it's just her and another actor, and she's just got to go.
You know, I think with all actors, whether they're playing, you know, comedic or you know, straight ahead, or you know, have a certain bent or a character, you know, thing that they're fully embodying. You know, the most important thing is that they're embodying the truth of that character. You know, and so we talk about backstory. We talk about, you know, where you came from, what your relationship with all these ladies are, who you are, you know, to them, who you think you are to them, that kind of thing. And then, you know, with Dina, she's our comedic fastball. So whenever we need something to happen, you know, or to punctuate a scene or punctuate you know, a sequence, you know, she's the one that we rely on, and she was able to just, you know. It was just you know, we set up the lob and she just pow, you know, every time, you know, and certainly went beyond our expectations. I think, you know, certainly we went through a lot of bananas in figuring that out too, you know, how far she would go with something.
Well, a great example of how far she would go would be the scene where she gets fired, because I think that's the scene that really establishes her character in Girls Trip. And we'll take a look at that. I think this is an incredible scene right here.
Dina, it has come to my attention that you had a bit of a conflict with a fellow employee.
No, not really.
I didn't know it was your lunch! Did you not see the label?
Stupid motherfucker! Don't you rock that
The point is physically assaulting a coworker because he accidentally stole your lunch from the
accidentally? Is that what he told you? He knew that was my Go-Gurt. That motherfucker is crazy for that shit.
Be that as it may, this is not the first time something like this has happened. I'm gonna need to terminate you. I'm letting you go.
Word?
Word.
Ah,
Yeah.
good looking out there. Thanks for letting me go, man. Appreciate that. Just number water under the bridge. I'm gonna go and get back to work.
No, there's no water and no bridge. You're fired.
Why are you making me feel like I'm on The Apprentice or something? Look, I get it. You're upset. I shouldn't be throwing things in a place of work.
Why are you making air quotes? This is a place of work.
Lesson learned. How you so understanding. Oh, by the way, I'm going to Essence Fest this weekend with my girls. We about to tire it up, so I'm gonna need Friday off.
Okay. You can have all days off, Dina, because you no longer work here. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Totally. See you bright and early Tuesday morning. Plus or minus a few hours depending on traffic.
We're not, Dina, we're not done yet.
Yes, we are.
Dina!
Okay, Ted. Snitches get stitches.
Oh, shit. Dina, you need to grow up.
All right, let's just call it right now, Malcolm. Let's just say that's one of the most impressive debuts ever. Can we say that right here?
Without question. You know, that's a true example of, you know, not only a character owning a scene, but, you know, an actor owning a scene. She's been there before, and she knows, like, okay, you know, oh yeah, he'll get over this. You know, I'll just be my normal, charming self, and, you know, and act clueless. But, you know, I'll be back here on Monday. She knows what she's doing.
Yeah, the beauty of this film is it's one of the first times we actually get to see Black women just be Black women. I mean, what shape was the script in when you first got it, and what was the intent?
Well, it was certainly a good script that we got from Tracy Oliver and Kenya Barris, you know, and you know, I think that, you know, the thing about it, and the thing that I hear most, one of the things that I heard, you know, was the freedom in which the characters seem to be in this movie, and I think that was certainly inspired by visiting Essence, which is the, you know, as we know, the largest and only festival in the world that celebrates Black women, right? And you know, in a major way. And you know, the women down there, they go there to cut loose, right? They go there to be their fullest selves, like, you know, their most pious, their most ratchet selves, you know, and they run their gamut. And so, you know, you witness that, you see it, and it's just like a sisterhood and camaraderie, and, you know, a celebration of Black womanhood that, you know, we wanted to capture on screen. And so we were, you know, thankfully we were able to do that. You know, the actors we were able to embody that, and we were able to shoot it at the real Essence Fest and whatnot. So it went really, really well. Very tough.
Yeah, I really wanted to talk to you about that, because, I mean, if you've never been to the Essence Fest, I don't think people realize how big of an event it is and how big of a cultural celebration this event really is. Because, you know, people who attend the Essence Fest, you know, you got a large percentage of people who go there who have been saving up all year just to go and just enjoy this for 1 week. And it just happens to be in one of the best American cities of all time, which is New Orleans. Because New Orleans on a normal weekend is crazy.
Right.
It's like 500,000 people. That's insane. How did you shoot a feature film actually during the Essence Fest? Because you actually shot at the festival while it was going on.
We did. You know, it's a festival, by the way, that generates more money than the Super Bowl when the Super Bowl's in town. And so you know how big that is. You know, we planned, we worked with the Essence Festival folks and Essence Magazine to, like, you know, get in where we fit in. And, you know, it wasn't easy, you know, trying to disguise our actors, you know, particularly, you know, Queen Latifah, who's so tall and statuesque, and, you know, and a cover girl, and she's, you know, when she walks in a place, you know it. You know what I mean? There's a few people that you can't hide. You know, Queen Latifah was one of those people. So, you know, we picked our spots. We talked to our music acts. We wanted to make sure that we gave the audience a very immersive experience in watching that movie. And so that was the intent. And, you know, we were able to achieve that over the 4 days that we shot. And those days were the beginning of the festival, at the beginning of our shoot as well. So like, you know, we had to, like, all of our planning, all our pre-production was geared toward that for the most part. Then we had like maybe a couple of days to kind of like, okay, now how are we gonna shoot the rest of the movie? You know, and it was again, it wasn't easy, but very, very satisfying and gratifying.
What's the toughest scene to shoot during the festival?
Probably when Tiffany got pulled up on stage with Diddy. We just didn't know what was going to happen. You know, we had talked to him, you know, really all we had talked about was having him, her flashing him and him just going like this, right? Giving a look. That's all we really wanted, right? But he reached down and like pulled her up and then, you know, pulled her up.
Diddy!
And she had to like climb over this gigantic, like, you know, amp. Latifah, like, you know, jumped into action because we couldn't do it, like going there, we ruined the shot, and pushed her butt up on the, you know, on the thing. It was incredible. Like, it was one of those situations that we were just like, oh my God. Like, after we shot that, we were high-fiving and just like, yo, we got something special right now, man. Like, that was tough. The new edition, like when they first come in, that was tough. Bourbon wasn't that bad. Well, we didn't shoot that during Essence Fest. But here's the toughest one. Her final speech, because we ended up trying to do that on 2 different days. The first day was we didn't capture the audience the way we needed to. They started walking out and stuff. So we were like, oh, we had to start making advertisements and whatnot for the next night for the gospel day. And then like we had a lot of good people there, and fortunately, that worked out for us. You know, we had 2 bites of the apple, and we got it on the second one. All very challenging, though. All very challenging.
No, it has to be. You pulled it off. I mean, just to give the people an example of how challenging it is, I love the concert footage you captured with like New Edition, who's like a mega group. I mean, watch this scene. Let's watch this scene just to give people a taste of what it was like.
But you can see it in my eyes. Spent tonight, I can't fool no one else. The truth is in the tears I cry. Sing the song, y'all. If it isn't love, why do I feel this way? Why does she stay on my mind? If it isn't love, why does it hurt so bad? It makes me feel so sad inside. If it isn't love.
Yeah, that was about 5 cameras working. One at the foot of the stage, a steady cam on behind the group. We had one that was stationed by the control booth. We had our, like, it's not a steady cam, but it was I forget what they call this rig, where we had the women in there. We had, which was annoying because we had our 4 bodyguards like flanking the women. Some were in character, some were not, and I was like, guys, you're killing my shot. You gotta loosen up a little bit. And then we had another and one at the foot of the stage. So
Did it help that some of the people in attendance were distracted by what was going on stage?
We practiced it a couple of times, so they were aware of us, after a while,
So they caught on.
They were trying to watch, but they were also seeing them, and they were also like videotaping at the same time. So we got the best shot that we could with it, and it did work out. It gave you the essence of what was happening.
Well, let's talk about a big reason why a lot of people love this movie, particularly women. It's one of the few times where you get to see Black women on screen, and they're addressing sexuality and relationships the way they do in real life. Like, there were no pretenses. There wasn't that like sort of phoniness you see. There wasn't anything degrading that you typically see. It was real.
We wanted the women to be as free as possible, in talking about, sex and, how they they interact with one another. We didn't want any kind of like pretense. We wanted it to be as real and authentic as possible. So we had a lot of time in rehearsal to talk to the 4 women and how they, related, to things. And there was a lot. It's funny, even when we were doing like we were punching up the script with some jokes and stuff. There was a lot of penis talk from the women writers who were writing it, and then every ad lib had something to do with penis or dick. And I was like, guys, can we like just tone down? I mean, I'm down, but like it's almost like every other word out y'all's mouth. Like they felt like just the like they just wanted to say it all, dick, 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 dick all the time. I was just like, hey, give us some variation on that, ladies.
Well, speaking of that, we have to talk about the classic scene because you kept one in, the most memorable scene that involved a couple of pieces of fruit.
Yes, the infamous grapefruit scene. That was, something that we had, it was written in the script as something that they were going to like look at, because it was an online thing. And I was like, no, one of them should do it. Like Dina should actually do it. And then like the day of, like we had a bunch of grapefruits and a bunch of bananas at the prop truck. And I said, so Tiffany, here's your stuff. And she was like, okay, I got it. I said, you want to like practice? She's like, no, I got it. Don't worry. When it's time to go, we'll do it. You saw the results. I mean,
so you had no idea what direction she was going to take it.
I knew she was going to go for it, but I just didn't know how with as much gusto. I mean, I thought she'd go for it, but I mean, she went and she went for it.
Well, you're the director of the film. Should we take a look or should we just save that for the people?
Save it for the people.
We'll save it for the people. We'll save it for the people. All right. Well, I do want to explore this scene though, because I love the way now you shot during Essence Special, which I still don't know how you pull that off because that's just a crazy event. But I love the way you utilize New Orleans as a backdrop. Now, a lot of movies have been set and shot in New Orleans, but Girls Trip sort of presented a different perspective of it. And I really appreciated that.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's like you said, it's one of the great American cities, and like I felt like, it was a little bit of a controversy for me because like we were talking about the the zip line and all that, and I was like, that's not part of what happens in New Orleans. We should be authentic as we can. But they were like, no, it'll be a great set piece. I said, fine, but as long as we capture the music and the the dancing and the culture. I wanted to be able to capture that as much as possible because, like you said, there are lots of movies that shoot New Orleans that aren't New Orleans, and we were set smack dab in New Orleans, and I wanted to get all of that.
How did that zip line scene come up? Because, like you said, that's not really unique to New Orleans.
It's not. I mean, it was one of those things that the studio needed a set piece, right? A big comedic set piece, and I was like reluctant, and like I think. It was Will Packer came with the idea because he had seen something about, some kid who, urinated on a crowd or whatever. And I was like, all right. And it really wasn't until we got to, on the day to shoot it where I was like, okay, this would be great. Before that, I was kind of like, I'm not so sure about this. And then like, you see Queen Latifah there, right? And she's doing, there's all these histrionic, like things with her legs and whatnot. And like, she's having like a ball with it. And she just kill it. Like it's like you forget that she had 5 years of comedic training on Living Single, and it's like, oh, she's actually really, really funny and knows how to access and be funny. And same thing with Jada. Was like, Jada was like, she's multi-talented with her dancing, with her singing, with her commitment to character. And this one, we shot this over 2 weekends, like right the beginning of it. We had to shoot this wide shot where we can get, all of Bourbon Street going there. With less than half of those people are extras, and the other half are just people that are just down the street roaming around. So it's really like I'm very proud of what we were able to pull off on the scene, even though I wasn't fully on board to begin with. But then I got into it, and it's like it's one of those great scenes that like people always remember and always talk about.
No, it's a great scene. It's very memorable. It's well executed. I mean, it's a lot of fun. It keeps in tone with the movie and the characters. I mean, no, it's an amazing scene. We got a question from one of the AFI fellows. She's a directing fellow. Yeah, she's actually based in. She's in Los Angeles currently. Her name is Stacy Pascal Gasper. How are you doing, Stacy? She's got a question Malcolm.
Hi, Malcolm. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
I'm going into my second year as a directing fellow, and I have to say, just rewatching the clips, I'm just like laughing, and I'm like, thank goodness I'm on mute, because I'd just be cackling randomly, and they'd be like, who's that voice? But my question to you was, because, you know, you do comedy so well, the way you just capture these like performances that feel so genuine and authentic, you know, and as a filmmaker, it's like, I want to do comedy one day. And it was just like, you know, something that terrifies me is like, we're troubleshooters as directors. And when a scene is not landing, what do you do? Or who do you go to kind of like, you know, bring it together? Is it your DP? Is it the writer? You know, because I think you feel the pressure of like, okay, where do we capture what we had in, you know, rehearsal?
Here's what I would say about getting one of the keys to a successful comedy, because those situations that you just described are going to happen, where it's like, oh, how do we get out of this scene? The scene's not working or whatever. You must cast funny people. I know that sounds very basic, but it is vital that you have somebody that can help you. I remember when I was shooting an episode of Everyone Hates Chris, and Chris Rock told me, you know, you're gonna need people on the set that's gonna be able to help you. I'm like, what are you talking about? I know what I'm doing. I'm a director. Like, you know, I know how to direct people. I know how to direct other things. And I was just like, and he was like, nope, just telling you, you're gonna at some point you gotta cast people that are gonna be able to help you. And I didn't understand until the next day when we were in a situation where I was stuck, and you know, we had like no time to finish the scene. Tashina Arnold came to set. She was supposed to be like, you know, like strung out because she couldn't eat her turtles, her chocolate and pecan turtles. And so she was kind of like a crackhead, but she looked glammed up. And I was like, what are we doing here? We need to, and she was like, hold on a second. She stepped away, pulled her pants all the way up to, you know, over her breasts, you know, messed up her eyes, you know, mussed up her hair, and was like, okay, I'm ready. And I was like, boom, that's what Chris meant.
Wow.
To help you. Same thing happened on Night School with Chris Rock. No, I'm sorry, with Kevin Hart. Like, Kevin was just like, I said, Kevin, we need a way out of the scene, and because we were running out of time. And you know, when Tiffany like puts him in the scissor thing at the end, and like, you know, he was like, oh, what's that smell? It was like, okay, boom. It's like, this is the joke. And it was like, it was well placed. And it's just like, okay, that's what you need. So cast funny people, write the script as best you can, workshop it, get it to where it needs to get to, but then cast funny people so they can bail you out.
Awesome. Thank you.
Sure.
I love that, man. That's like a reconnect. Great question. That was a reconnect to the first question. Like I said, one of the most underappreciated aspects of filmmaking is the casting. We got to lobby the Academy Awards to create a category for best casting. I mean, it's so crucial. It's so crucial. And speaking of casting, can we please talk about the national treasure that is Regina Hall? One of the funniest people on the planet. She's been funny since day one. One of the most talented, most gifted actresses working in the biz today. I love her to death. She's the lead in this, but just talk about her for a second.
Well, you know, I was fortunate to put Regina in one of her first movies with The Best Man, and again, one of the most versatile actors of our time. You know, and she's so sweet and she's so genuine. She's so smart, really funny, ultra talented, and gave room for people to really like shine. Like when Tiffany needed to be the funny person, then she gave the room to do that. Well, Regina, we love Regina. She's a national treasure. She's fantastic, and you know, you know, that was our Girl Trip was our fourth collaboration.
Really, that's number 4. That's right.
I hope to do many more with her.
Well, let's take a look. This is the one scene that I really thought she drove home, is when she's like in this conversation with her husband, and you can kind of see both the comedic and the dramatic side all in the same scene.
Are you kidding me? You said you ended this shit and now there's a picture? Are you not understanding? And on top of it, the bitch is here.
I didn't invite her.
Well, neither the fuck did I. You need to call her and you need to send that genetically enhanced ass home.
Come on, babe. How am I supposed to do that?
The same way you tell her to come get some dick. You tweet, Snapchat, DM, smoke signals, whatever you do, I don't give a shit. You know what? Whatever. I'm not doing this. This is stupid. This isn't a marriage, but we agreed to at least be a partnership, and you can't hold up your end of the bargain, let alone your pants. This is against everything I tell my readers, my followers, and yet I'm putting up with it? No.
Right. I'm sorry.
You're always sorry.
I know, but look, I won't do it again.
You always ain't gonna do it again.
Baby, I mean it this time. Okay? Real talk. Ryan, baby, listen. You're right. You don't deserve this. But our brand is who we are. It's who you are. Giving all that up because I was sloppy isn't worth all that you have worked very hard to accomplish. Why would we give it up? And for what? Huh? To watch it all crumble? To be alone? Ryan, baby, I'm not going anywhere. You know that. I don't give a damn about her. Let's just do our dance and handle our business. Be that couple who has it all.
No more slip-ups. Stick to the plan and get that hoe under control. And we close this deal.
Done.
Some of us have to find a place to stay.
The smoke signals line. I love the way she delivers the smoke signals line.
I tell you what, part of you know, that scene, Regina was responsible for, not just in the acting, but she was even like making suggestions about like how her reaction would be towards it. That like, you know, that she would know that she would react in a way that was, you know, about the business and not so much the you know, how hurt she was, but she played the hurt so very, very well. The subtext of it, you know, like, yes, the immediate thing is like, oh my God, like it's so painful, like, you know, but it's, and she was hiding that so well, but it was there on the surface. And so, yeah, no, she's really fantastic. And it's a testament to her as an actress, as a storyteller, and certainly as a you know, comedic force as well.
Well, I want to find out from you, as a storyteller yourself, as a writer, as a director, as a producer, as someone who's been in the game for more than 20 years, why do Black stories matter?
Hey man, it's always been my mission from the time that I got into business is to make the so-called African-American movie mainstream. You know, we have very universal stories to tell, and this connectivity about our humanity that I've always wanted to get at. And I think it's important because, you know, we are not often seen as human beings, as Americans, as people who have full lives, who have, you know, the same fears and joys and hangups and insecurities as other people. And so it's always been my thing to, you know, display that. And I think it's vital to, you know, equality. It's vital for people to not for other people, not just for other people to see us that way, but for us to see ourselves that way. Because we're told, you know, so many negative things about ourselves. And I want us to, you know, to be uplifted.
I think that's why Girls Trip was so successful, because we love seeing ourselves this way. And that had a lot to do with the popularity of the film and why it's one of the funniest movies ever made. It's a classic film. And thanks a lot, man. I appreciate you creating it, and I appreciate your time today. So it's been a great conversation. I can talk Girls Trip all day, every day.
I could do it, but I got to take my kids to work.
I know, but let me
do it right now.
Let me let the people. I want to thank the people for tuning in to the AFI Movie Club. I'm Shawn Edwards. I've been talking to director, writer, producer Malcolm D. Lee, and don't forget, this is a partnership with Universal Pictures. So all this week, you can go and check out and rent Girls Trip for free. So you can either see it for the first time, see it for the 100th time. if you're a repeat viewer, it's
That's
even
a
funnier.
good deal.
It's a great deal. It's a great deal. So hey, man,
$3.99 is you can't beat that.
$3.99. No, I appreciate it, man. Get going. I know you're busy. You got a lot of stuff coming up in the future, but thanks a lot for this time, man. Always a pleasure.
Good to see you, brother.